This year's show is a lot bigger, it's a lot better.
This year we have a bigger and better team.
We have a lot of dedicated members who are really committed.
With brand new fresh faces and people with different talents, better talents.
We evolved and came from such a small little event that we put on 2 weeks prior to the show date to something that took an entire year basically to plan. AASU Night really is kind of a chance for other creative people in AASU.
It's a good way for us to showcase the issues that Asian Americans face today.
We were trying to get our foot through the door and introduce something that we've never done before as a club.
For this year's AASU Night, we wanted to do something that was significantly different from anything we've ever done before.
Years before, we've talked about issues such as the mono-minority stereotype, with Raul being a nerd and wanting to be more than that.
That's right. I shouldn't allow myself to be oppressed anymore. I should be a man. Do the right thing.
We kind of make it comical so that people could relate to it, and so people could actually digest it, but really kind of bring it out so people can think about it.
So the backbone behind Resonance is some of the central important themes that will be discussed in the show. The first of which is cultural assimilation and the resulting intergenerational conflict. The main storyline centers around 3 generations of the same family. The first generation is the grandmother, Teresa, who immigrated to the United States from China.
She was forced to leave her homeland in like 1966.
She had to give up her passion in exchange for something that's more practical and more financially stable.
She ends up opening up a restaurant, which is a more steady way of surviving and a more steady source of income.
Well, Anne is your stereotypical Asian mother.
She came into America with her mom, Teresa, when she was around 10 years old in the 60s.
And she was raised to have a very ethnocentric view on the world around her.
Yeah.
Hey, you boy, come over here.
Oh, hi, aren't you?
Where is Sarah?
She's getting ready to come out.
And finally, we have Sarah. Sarah is the daughter of Anne, and she represents our generation.
She's a girl who's just trying to do what she wants, what her parents want her to do.
She is your typical Asian American college student, and most of us should be able to identify with her.
Her passion is actually dancing, but her parents want her to do something force her to do something she doesn't really want, such as becoming a doctor, all those prestigious jobs that make you a lot of money that Asian parents want all of their children to do.
So as far as for me, she wanted me to have all the privileges that she never had.
Her main goal in raising Sarah is to push her to do well in school and to study hard to get good grades.
You need a college degree and you needed to study and work hard.
So that in the future she will succeed and have a good life, a life that Anne always wanted but she could never had.
I had to give that all up for our family and for you.
You know, and all of us, I'm pretty sure that we can relate to, not just Asians or Asian Americans, but people of all types of race and ethnicities can relate to kind of that generation gap between you and your parents and your grandparents.
Oh, so there are 2 scenes in the play where the grandmother acts as an advisor for Anne and Sarah.
She also had to make similar decisions. She also made similar mistakes. And therefore, she advises them.
A person should do what he or she wants and what he or she will be most happy to do.
Anne is particularly not supportive of interracial relationships.
She hasn't fully accepted the concept of diversity in America, and that is the reason why she doesn't condone Sarah dating anyone outside of our race.
I don't think they're ready to meet you yet.
That shouldn't be a problem. Oh, I learned some Chinese.
And it's difficult for Sarah because she tries to hide it from her mom. And she thinks that her mom doesn't understand that because I like someone, why does it matter what color they are?
Why does it matter to you anyways? It's my life. I should be making my own decisions. Didn't you see what happened to your aunt? Didn't you see after she married Nate? I am your mother. Don't you know how bad this will reflect on me, on our family?
With all these difficult themes that we had to address, we wanted to make the script as real as possible, because these are real issues that people face in everyday life.
Well, it was a really long and well thought out process. We tried very hard to make sure that everything made sense.
No, it'll just be like, they'll look at each other, and they look back, and they'll be like, what is that supposed to be?
We're constantly always trying to improve our scripts. From the beginning of our practices, we would have our actors read off the lines of the script, and from our observations and from their feedback, further improve our scripts.
All of her work creates this fluffy custard and egg white goodness. Oh yeah.
Some of the characters that we created were made so that they suit the actors that we had in mind. And one of the prime examples was Carl Javier. His character, he's very outgoing and very loud. His personality would fit that character just so well.
Okay. So are you gonna check out? Wow. Of course, it wasn't easy for everyone.
The most difficult thing for me was to portray Anne accurately, because growing up I always saw myself in Sarah's shoes, actually.
My mom actually does work in a restaurant, so she has a really hard time, and I do try not to bother her as much as I can about things. I try to take care of things myself.
So it was hard for me to put myself in Anne's position, because that would be for me to put myself in my own mother's position. So it's like you have to portray yourself as your enemy, for a lack of a better term.
I think the most difficult part in portraying Teresa's character, for me at least, is saying all the lines with a heavy accent.
I gave up my dreams because it was the right thing at the time.
The Chinese accent was very difficult as well, because I was born here, so I don't really have an accent.
But there are so many things better than our history, like business or medicine.